Hey, what's up guys? Dr. Jeremy Landry with Kansas City Laser-Like Lipo. I'm really excited about this video. It's way overdue. I've been wanting to do this for such a long time, but I've been extremely lazy and just haven't done it. But it's going to be on Bulletproof Coffee. And maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. I'll put a link in the description down below. But basically, Bulletproof Coffee, it's a really high-fat coffee. And before you freak out and you're like, oh my gosh, fat's not good for you, that's a bunch of BS. I know the government's been pushing that since the early 1980s. And it's kind of funny if you look at the research and the statistics. The government started pushing, get rid of fat, it's going to kill you, it's going to kill you. And obesity rates have skyrocketed. I mean, literally from 1985 until 2010, which is the last time they put out some of the obesity maps, there were states that didn't even track obesity rates. And now 40% of American adults are obese. 71% of adults are overweight. That's 7 out of 10 people. So you need good fats, not the bad fats, but the good fats. And that's what this is. Traditionally for breakfast, people typically do something high carb. They do, a protein bar, granola bar, potatoes, something that's just high carb, and it causes your blood sugar to spike. So you have some energy from it. But then, mid-morning, your blood sugar starts to crash, you feel terrible, and you're running for another snack because you're hungry again. And then people typically combine that with a cup of coffee or a mug of coffee. So you get this rapid absorption of caffeine, and then mid-morning, caffeine's tanking off, your body's getting rid of it, and you're running for another cup of coffee. And it's just a vicious cycle that most people go through on a daily basis. So Bulletproof Coffee, you're putting a bunch of good fat into your coffee. And the fat combined with caffeine causes a lot slower absorption of caffeine. So you have sustained energy throughout the morning up until about lunchtime. And then when it comes to satiety, feeling full, you feel really full because you consumed a bunch of good fats. So you're not having those cravings in between, mid-morning or before lunchtime. So I'm addicted to the Bulletproof Coffee. I was introduced to it about 3 years ago from my business partner, and I was skeptical like a lot of people. I didn't want to jack up my coffee because I love my morning coffee. But once I got my own little recipe down and kind of perfected it, I'm addicted to this. I do this 7 days a week religiously. Even when I'm on a vacation or a cruise ship, I figure out some way of making my Bulletproof Coffee. So here is Dr. Jeremy's official recipe on how to make Bulletproof Coffee. I'll put the actual official recipe in the link down below, created by Dave Asprey with Bulletproof Coffee. So anyways, here's how I make this. You want to brew your coffee, and I use organic coffee, and spend a little bit of extra money on your coffee. Get something that's organic, super clean. A lot of coffees do have traces of mold in them. You don't want mold in your body. But I'll brew 12 ounces of organic coffee. And then one of the important parts is you want to use Kerry Gold Butter. You've probably seen this in the grocery store. Costco sells it as well. They have like a big 3-pack for maybe $10. And you're going to put 1 to 2 tablespoons of the Kerry Gold Butter into the coffee. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but believe me, it tastes really good. And I recommend, if you've never done Bulletproof Coffee or if you don't do a lot of good fats, start out with 1 tablespoon. You want your body to get accustomed to the good fats. If you do too much fat all at once, you might get some loose stools, which is good for cleansing, but it's not necessarily a fun thing to do. So you'll do 1 tablespoon of Kerry Gold Butter. You're going to put this into the coffee. And the reason we use Kerry Gold Butter is that it's real butter. It comes from cows from Ireland that don't have steroid injections, antibiotic injections. It's just super clean and it's really good for you. But a bunch of good fat. And then we're going to take MCT oil. And you can get the actual Brain Octane brand from Bulletproof Coffee, or you can go to Natural Grocers or Amazon. I like the Now brand. I've been using this for years. It's one of my favorite. And again, the MCT oil is derived from coconut oil, and it's about 18 times as concentrated, and it's flavorless and odorless. So it's not disgusting as in putting, coconut oil in your coffee. And again, you can do 1 to 2 tablespoons. I recommend, if you've never done it before, start out with 1 tablespoon. And the way that this works in the body is that you rapidly convert it to ketones, which is a much more efficient energy source for the brain. So typically you notice you feel really good very quickly, and you have that sustained energy release. You're not having, that brain fog or any mental clarity issues. it really works is all I can say. So 1 to 2 tablespoons of MCT oil. And then if you want to sweeten it, which I always like to kind of doll up my coffee, you can put some stevia in there. I prefer the liquid stevia. And I do about 1 drop per ounce. And so I've got 12 ounces in here. I'll do 12 drops. So 12 drops right there. And then if you like to use, creamer, or if you normally put cream in your coffee, you want to use something like heavy whipping cream, which again has a bunch of good fat in here. And you can kind of put in here as much as you want to put in. So I normally doll mine up a little more than most people. And then that's kind of the official recipe. Now, on top of that, I like to put some extra things in my Bulletproof coffee. I love vanilla, so I always use a little bit of actual vanilla extract, and so I'll put some of that in there. And then I will use cinnamon, which is good for inflammation, and you can put as much cinnamon as you want to put in there. So I always put probably, again, more than most people. And once that's in there, you can take a blender. I recommend using the Immersion blender, put that in the cup, and then just blend it up. You can use an actual blender as well. For me, this is really quick, very easy to clean up. You just kind of rinse it off under the sink and wash it off. And I recommend using a blender bottle, just simply because this fits in there really well. It doesn't splatter all over the place, and blend it up, and that's how you do it. And it makes this really hot, frothy, almost like a delicious Starbucks drink that's actually good for you. And there's no sugar in here. There's nothing that's going to spike the blood sugar and cause you to, have the insulin go up and go into fat storage mode. And that's how I make Bulletproof coffee. Simple recipe. So just a recap, 12 ounces of coffee, 1 to 2 tablespoons of Kerry Gold Butter, 1 to 2 tablespoons of MCT oil. I do 1 drop of stevia per ounce of coffee that's in there. Pour in as much heavy whipping cream as you want to use, and then a little bit of vanilla extract and some cinnamon, and it's absolutely amazing. Obviously, you can add in other things to it if you want to, change the flavor, but it's phenomenal. So if you have any questions, leave a comment down below, call the number on the screen, feel free to shoot us an email. Be sure to read the description down below. I'll put some cool links in there talking about Bulletproof Coffee, the history of it, Dave Asprey, the guy who founded Bulletproof Coffee, and just why it's so beneficial for your health. So thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have literally over 300 videos on our channel now. Go through, check them out. We try to come up with relevant content, make awesome videos that help out not just people here in Kansas City, but all over the United States. So until next time, God bless. We love you. Talk to you soon.